Welcome back to the Jacob Talk Sports podcast, starring me, your host, Jacob Dushan. This will be episode number 3 of the podcast, and it'll be the second parter of my free agency discussion. This time, closing it out with the AFC. Last episode, I talked about the NFC, starting all the way at the bottom of the standings and taking it all the way up to the Super Bowl champion Eagles. This time, we're going to be starting at the bottom of the AFC standings and going all the way up to the runner-up Kansas City Chiefs. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Starting off with the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward, that's the biggest addition, I would say. They got their quarterback of the future, hopefully. We'll see how it pans out for him. I think Cam Ward's got a lot of talent. I think he was a pretty underrated player at Miami. I mean, obviously not too underrated. He did go number 1 overall. Thought he was the best quarterback in his class. But, as always, we will see how that ages. Some additions for the Titans that could be something to watch. Wide receiver Tyler Lockett. I think we can all say we have seen some pretty cool plays from him back when he used to play with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, especially coming from Russell Wilson before he headed to Denver. Van Jefferson used to play for the Rams, now on the Titans as well. Some O-line help for the rookie quarterback. Some D-line help as well. Cody Barton, a pretty underrated linebacker, signs a 3-year deal with the Titans. Xavier Woods signs with the team. Joey Sly and Johnny Hecker, 2 former Panthers, sign with the Titans. So a little bit of a shakeup there for the Titans additions. They definitely have a lot of departures, though. Not a whole lot of big-name guys, but definitely some guys to watch. Wide receiver Tyler Boyd, wide receiver Nick Westbrook, Akeen goes to the Dolphins, Nick Vanette, a few O-line guys, Harold Landry, McTelvin Agim, Jerome Baker, Luke Gifford, Raekwon McMillan, Kenneth Murray Jr. got traded to the Cowboys, Chidobe Awuzie goes to the Ravens, Darryl Worley, Quandre Diggs, Ryan Stonehouse, and Nick Folk all headed out from the Titans. So overall, I would say they're kind of looking to have not the greatest season. They could be a surprise team. You never know. I don't see them being too good. I see the Titans kind of having a 5 to 6 win season at best. But hey, I've been wrong before and could be wrong again. We will see how it goes. Next up on the standings for last year, it'd be the Cleveland Browns, although they did not draft with the second pick since they traded it to the Jaguars. But we will get there later on. So the Cleveland Browns, their addition was at the 5th pick and a few picks throughout as well. Their most popular pick would definitely be Shedeur Sanders. I know everyone's saying first round material. I'm not buying it, but I'll get to that in a little bit. A pretty shocking move by the Browns, drafting Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon before Shedeur Sanders. I kind of think it was just as a diss to Mr. Sanders out of Colorado, but I don't know. We will see how that ages because they have a lot of quarterbacks going on. And let's jump right into that, actually. They have a quarterback room of something interesting. Joe Flacco is my pick to be the starter this year. I don't think Deshaun Watson plays another snap in the NFL. Sad to see a very talented player throw it all away, but it happens. Kenny Pickett also joins the team. I don't really see him starting. I could see him as a third string, second string maybe. Then they also have Dylan Gabriel. Then they also have Shedeur Sanders. And, of course, in my opinion, Deshaun Watson. He's still on the roster technically, but I don't think he's going to play. They added DeAndre Carter, a receiver. Deontay Johnson used to play for the Ravens and the Steelers, so he is just kind of bouncing around the division. Jackson Barton, Cornelius Lucas, Tevin Jenkins, Myles Garrett signs a 4-year deal, makes him a big money man, and also includes a no-trade clause, keeping him with the Browns for 6 years. So they signed their guy. Good call. Julian Akwara, Joe Tryon Shoyinka, Malik Collins, Jerome Baker, Devin Bush used to play with the Steelers as well. Rayshawn Jenkins and DeMonte Kazee all signing with the Cleveland Browns. But let's talk about their departures. They've got a few. DTR, the quarterback out of UCLA, never really had his chance to shine. Had a few starts, but never really worked out for him. He goes to the champion Eagles. Jameis Winston had a couple big games for them. I remember that Monday night game. I think it was a Monday night game against the Denver Broncos where they both combined for like 500 yards almost. Crazy game. Jameis Winston headed to the Giants to be backup QB for Russell Wilson. Nick Chubb, after his sad injury that took him out, He is now on the Texans. Dante Foreman is gone. Nyheim Hines is gone to the Chargers. Elijah Moore, this is a pretty big one. He goes to the Bills. Jordan Akins, Josh Swaim, Hakeem Adeniji, James Hudson, Jermaine Ifedi, Jedrick Wills. I was kind of surprised to see him go. Michael Dunn, Nick Harris, James Houston, Maurice Hurst, Dalvin Tomlinson goes to my Cardinals. Jordan Hicks retired, one of my former Cardinals as well. Kalike Hudson, Rodney McLeod, Juan Thornhill goes to the Steelers, and Charlie Hewlett goes to the Eagles. So that is all for the Cleveland Browns. Next up in the standings, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. First player that comes to mind, Ashton Genty, the star out of Boise State. Pretty popular player for sure. And he's going to be a fun player to watch. Absolutely. I think we are going to be in for a fun season watching him play. I think he could win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but we'll see how it goes for him. That O-line is not the greatest, so he's going to have to do pretty good because his O-line at Boise State was not bad. But also for the Raiders, let's talk about their additions and their departures. I do remember that they lost a few players and gained a few players that were kind of not too big time, but the biggest one I can think of, they got a new quarterback and they got a new head coach that used to play/coach together. It'd be Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, formerly of the Seahawks. Pete Carroll went to retirement, decided to come out of retirement and coach for the LV Raiders. Almost said the LA Raiders. They haven't played there in years. The Las Vegas Raiders. Geno Smith acquired in a trade with the Hawks, now the starting quarterback. They also added Raheem Mostert, used to be with the Dolphins, Philip Dorsett, Colin Johnson, Alex Kappa. They signed Max Crosby, one of the league's best edge rushers, to a 3-year deal for $106 million with 91 guaranteed. Good job, Max Crosby. Malcolm Kuntz, Adam Butler, Lakey Fotu used to play for my Cardinals, Jermaine Pratt, Elandon Roberts, Devin White, Jalen Smith, Darnay Holmes, Eric Stokes, Jamal Adams, Jeremy Chin, underrated signing, Isaiah Polamau, and AJ Cole, who is one of the top punters in the league. So pretty good additions there, and it's going to be something to watch with a new coach, as it always is, but probably a Hall of Fame coach when it's all said and done. So we'll see how he does for the Raiders. Let's talk about their departures, though. Gardner Minshew, Desmond Ritter, Amir Abdullah, Alexander Madison, Terrace Marshall, Harrison Bryant, Andres Pete, Cody Whitehair, Andre James, Kaylavon Chaisson, John Jenkins, Christian Wilkins. That was a weird situation, by the way, if you guys heard about that, but I'm not going to get into that. Divine Diablo, Robert Spillane, Nate Hobbs, Marcus Epps, and Trayvon Moehrig, all headed out to other teams or free agency. Surprisingly, they did not have any players retire. They just had a few players that were cut or sent off in trades. So that was the LV Raiders. I don't know why I keep going to say LA Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders. What happened to Oakland, man? They should have kept them there. Anyways, next up, we have the New England Patriots. What a quick fall from grace for the New England Patriots. As soon as Tom Brady left, they kind of drove off a cliff. But they're building a little something. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of impressed with the Patriots' future trajectory. They got a new coach, Mike Vrabel, who was, in my opinion, not a great cut from the Titans. I mean, he took a pretty bad team to the AFC Championship, I believe. That team wasn't that good. Derrick Henry was their best player by a mile, but they didn't really have a whole lot of big-name players. But anyways, Mike Vrabel, now the head coach of a team that he used to play for, and now he's the head coach of. I think that was a great move for the New England Patriots, and I think that is going to help him out a lot. We'll see how it goes, though. But let's talk about the Patriots' additions. Josh Dobbs used to play for my Cardinals as well. He is known as the Pastronaut. He had some fun games. Stephon Diggs. Hopefully he stays out of trouble. A talented player when healthy and out of trouble. Matt Collins stays in the division. Used to play for the Bills. Austin Hooper re-signs the team. Morgan Moses, Garrett Bradbury, Kaylavon Chaisson. We talked about him just a minute ago. Harold Landry, David Olajiga, Milton Williams, Kyrus Tonga, Robert Spillane, Carlton Davis, Marcus Epps, and Jalen Hawkins, all signing or staying with the team. Let's talk about their departures. Jacoby Brissett, Joe Milton traded to the Cowboys. A lot of people think that he could be their future if Dak doesn't work out. We will see. JaMychal Hasty, Chukwuma Okorafor, that is his name right there. Wes Schweitzer retires. David Andrews retires. Dietrich Wise goes to the Commanders. Davon Godchaw to the Saints. Daniel Akule to the Steelers. Jawan Bentley, Sion Takitaki, Jonathan Jones, Joe Cardona, and Joey Sly, as we talked about earlier, now on the Titans. So not a whole lot of crazy pickups or departures. Their biggest being their head coach, definitely, and their first round pick, who I wanted to run through a brick wall after I saw his interview. Will Campbell out of LSU, going to be a great offensive tackle for the Patriots. If he stays healthy, I think he could be a Hall of Famer one day. I think that's crazy to say. Some people might, but hey, talent is talent, and he was great at LSU. Obviously, if he goes top 4. So we'll see how he plays. I'm rooting for him, though. I definitely am. Next up, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. The big pick of the draft, I would say, and we're still hearing about it to this day. Travis Hunter, the star dual, what would they even call that? Dual wield, two-way player, whatever you want to call him. Talented player, the Heisman winner. That was up for debate. But anyways, Travis Hunter to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Definitely their biggest trade. Not their trade, sorry. Actually, they did. They traded up to get that pick. I was right on that. They traded up with the Cleveland Browns to the number 2 overall pick. And then, crazy, he's all over the news. The two-way player. It makes sense. He's the Heisman winner. But, anyways, enough about Travis Hunter. Let's talk about the team itself. Nick Mullins signs with the team. Daimi Brown, Hunter Long, Johnny Munt, Chuma Adoga, Robert Hainsey, Fred Johnson, Patrick McCarry, Dennis Gardeck. I was kind of sad to see him leave the Cardinals. Emmanuel Ogba, Dwayne Smoot, Jordan Lewis, Eric Murray, and Logan Cook all joining the team. Let's talk about their departures. CJ Beathard, Mac Jones goes to the 49ers. I kind of thought he was going to get drafted by that team, so it's kind of crazy to see a full circle moment. But anyways, D'Ernest Johnson, Gabe Davis, Devin Duvernay, Christian Kirk traded to the Texans, Josh Reynolds. Yes, if you're counting correctly, that is 4 wide receivers that the Jaguars lost. They have high hopes and high praise for Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter. We'll see how it goes. Evan Ingram, Luke Farrell. That is 2 tight ends right there, by the way. Blake Hance, Brandon Scherf, Mitch Morse, who retired, Jeremiah Ledbetter, Ronald Darby, and Andre Sisco all leaving the team. So it's going to be an interesting team this year. I think this is not Travis. I think this is Trevor Lawrence's last dance. If he doesn't play good this year, I think he might be gone. Next year's draft class for quarterbacks, it's pretty good. Like, there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks going next year. And if he's bad, he might be on his last time in Jacksonville. We will see, though. Next up on the standings, the New York Jets, the Jets. We will see how they play. They got rid of Aaron Rodgers. That was a big one. But other than that, I don't want to spoil it too much yet. Aaron Rodgers, though, he is no longer with the Jets. So let's talk about their additions. With their first pick in the draft, they went with Armand Membu, who was an offensive tackle out of Missouri. They're building a line for their first addition to the team, Justin Fields, the new quarterback. Maybe he finally gets his chance to shine. He did not do too well with the Bears or Steelers, but maybe the Jets will be his chance. I don't know. We'll see how it goes for him. They got Tyler Johnson, Josh Reynolds, and signed to a 4-year deal, Mr. Garrett Wilson. Good job, Garrett. Very talented receiver. He deserves that. Chukwuma Okorafor, that is a name right there. Josh Myers, Byron Cowart, Derek Nottie, Jay Tufeli, Jamin Davis, Jamian Sherwood. Sauce Gardner signs a 4-year big deal. I think that made him the highest paid corner in the league, and a lot of people said that was controversial. Comment down below if you guys think that was controversial, because I think he's a good player and he deserves to be paid. But I don't know. Brandon Stevens, Andre Sisco, and Isaiah Oliver. Those are all the additions to the team. Let's talk about the departures. 2 big ones to start it off. Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. They did not go together. They were split up again. Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers and Davante Adams to the Rams. Tyler Conklin to the Chargers. Kenny Yeboah to the Lions. Morgan Moses to the Pats. Tyron Smith retired. Wes Schweitzer, Jake Hansen, Hassan Reddick to the Bucks. Lakey Fotu, Javon Kinlaw, Solomon Thomas, Sam Aguavoen, C.J. Mosley, Brandon Eccles, D.J. Reed, Kendall Sheffield, Ashton Davis, Chuck Clark, Jalen Mills, Greg Joseph, and Greg Zerline, and lastly, Thomas Morstead. So, It's going to be a new look Jets for sure. Also adding Aaron Glenn, the former defensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, as their head coach. Could be a good move for the Jets, but we will see. Next up on the standings, we jump up 3 wins to the 8-9 teams. There's two of them. The Miami Dolphins. We'll go with them first. Last year was about as mid as it gets for the Dolphins. 8-9. That's just shy of 500. Ever since they added the extra game, you can't go 8-8 anymore. So 8-9 it is. They got Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. Kind of a surprise pick. Let's see if ESPN's rating is on here. They actually gave that an 88. Not bad. Talented player. We'll see if it pans out for the Dolphins. Right away, I can tell you they lost some players. Definitely added a few good ones, though. But some of the players they lost, they're going to be important. They got some guys out for the year. Kohu, the corner, he just tore his ACL last week, so he's going to be done for the year. But I don't want to spoil it too much. Let's see. Additions: Zach Wilson, Alexander Madison, Dwayne Eskridge, Nick Westbrook Akeen, Pharaoh Brown, Darren Waller, who came out of retirement and then got traded. I don't know if I've heard of that before, but it's pretty cool. Jackson Carman, Larry Borum, James Daniels, underrated signing by the way. Liam Eichenberg, Benito Jones, KJ Britt, Tyrell Dodson, Willie Gay Jr., Artie Burns, Efieta Melifonwu, Kendall Sheffield, Elijah Campbell, Ashton Davis, Minka Fitzpatrick, the Alabama safety, comes back to the Dolphins after he left in 2019. He goes away in a trade, and now he comes back in a trade, going for Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith and a 7th-round pick. So we will see how Minka does in Dolphins round 2. Ryan Stonehouse and Joe Cardona were the last 2 additions for the Dolphins. For their departures, backup QB Tyler Huntley, Raheem Mostert, who I was kind of surprised to see let go, Jeff Wilson, Braxton Berrios, also surprised to see him let go, River Craycraft, Jonnu Smith, as I said earlier, Durham Smythe, Jack Stoll, Teron Armstead, who retired, Kendall Lamb, Robert Jones, Isaiah Wynn, Tyus Bowser, Deshaun Hand, Emmanuel Ogba, Calais Campbell to my Cardinals, Duke Riley, Anthony Walker Jr., Kendall Fuller, Saron Neal, Jalen Ramsey, Javon Holland to the Giants, Jordan Poyer, and Jake McQuaid. That is a lot of departures by the Dolphins. So we will see how they hold up this year. I would consider myself kind of a fan of the Dolphins. I grew up watching them. Not as much of a fan as I used to be, but I'm not too high on them this year. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully they prove me wrong, but I don't know. I'm just not too high on them. But anyways, next up, the second and final AFC 8-9 team, the Indianapolis Colts in the AFC South. They are another team I don't see doing too well this year, but I may be wrong again. We will see how that goes. They had a quarterback last year that a lot of people made fun of, and I'm rooting for him. I always root for a player that people discount, and I want them to succeed in this league because, well, that's just it. They're being doubted. First and foremost, the draft pick, Tyler Warren out of Penn State, good tight end. I watched him play in the Fiesta Bowl here in Arizona. He had a great game. Good player out of the Penn State Big Ten team who went to the Big Ten championship. But anyways, let's talk about the Colts. Daniel Jones, the former Giant and Viking, comes to Indy. Khalil Herbert, Ashton Doolin, Mo Alley Cox, Danny Pinter, Neville Gallimore, Corey Ballantyne, Charvarius Ward, former 49er, and Cameron Bynum all sign into the team. Not a whole lot of signings. Let's look at their departures. Definitely about the same. Sam Ellinger, Joe Flacco, Trey Sermon, Kylan Granson, Will Freeze, underrated departure. Mark Glowinski, Ryan Kelly, another underrated departure. Dio Odeyingbo, Taven Bryan, Raekwon Davis, EJ Speed, Grant Stewart, Julian Blackman, and Matt Gay, all Colts departures. So not a terrible free agency for the Colts, but we will see how it ages as they have a quarterback duel of Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. We'll see. Like I said, I'm rooting for AR. I wanted to see him succeed since everyone's doubting him, but we'll see how it goes. Next up, we go to the Cincinnati Bengals, who were probably one of the most talented offenses in the AFC last year, but they have a major Achilles heel, the defense. And that is another thing that I think is going to hurt them this year if they don't figure it out, is that defense. Because Joe Burrow, if they made the playoffs, probably would have won MVP. Let's check out his stats real quick because he was very impressive last year, and I was kind of surprised he did not win MVP. 43 touchdowns to 9 interceptions with almost 5,000 yards. But they had a 9-8 record, so yeah. That is crazy. Let's look at Josh Allen, who did win MVP. They had a they had a much better record, obviously, but look at this: 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 3,700 yards. Let's go back to Joe Burrow: 43 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and 4,900 yards. That's crazy. And he also had a better QBR, which I don't really care much about, and also had a better completion percentage. So that's my Joe Burrow hype right there. So yeah, if he had a better team around him, probably would have won MVP. But hey, maybe this year. Bengals were an interesting team this offseason. Shamar Stewart, we probably all heard the news that he wanted to sign his contract, but the Bengals wouldn't sign his contract. It was a weird situation. He did finally sign, I think, a week ago. So now every first round pick is signed, which is normally like a first week or two that you're with the team. But it took months. It's the 1st of August when I'm recording this, and I want to say he signed in the last week of July. The draft was in April. Like, come on, guys. Interesting situation that was. He almost went back to college, actually. So that would have been crazy. But anyways, let's talk about the additions other than Shamar Stewart. They got Desmond Ritter. Samaje Perine stays with the team. Actually, he comes back to the team. He used to be on the Bengals, but then he went to the Chiefs. Jamar Chase, 4-year deal, well-deserved. T. Higgins, 4-year deal, also well-deserved. Mike Gesicki, Tanner Hudson, Lucas Patrick, Cody Ford, Joseph Asai, Cam Sample, McTelvin Agim, Taven Bryan, B.J. Hill, T.J. Slayton, Oren Burks, Marco Wilson. I have trauma from that name. But anyways, Cal Adomitis were all of the Bengals' additions through free agency. Let's talk about their departures. Khalil Herbert, Trent Brown, Alex Kappa, Sam Hubbard, who retired, Sheldon Rankins, Jay Tufele, Akeem Davis Gaither, Jermaine Pratt, Mike Hilton, and Von Bell. You may notice I did not say Trey Hendrickson on either of those because he has not signed his deal. He wants to sign his deal. He likes playing for the Bengals, but the Bengals are weird with their money, as I said earlier with Shamar Stewart. So we will see if Trey Hendrickson suits up for the Bengals this regular season. Next up, we go to the team above the Bengals in the standings, which would be the Denver Broncos, who made the playoffs at 10-7. Man, that first drive against the Bills, legendary. After that, not so much. I was rooting for the Broncos. I got family that are Broncos fans, so I was rooting for them. But yeah, the Broncos, they met their match with the Buffalo Bills. That was a tough game for them. And the Bills are a good team, so yeah. The Denver Broncos added a good amount of players more than they lost. Their draft pick was R.J. Stewart. I don't know if he was a first rounder. I do not believe he was a first rounder. No, he was not. R.J. Stewart, I believe, was his name. I think that's wrong. R.J. Harvey, sorry. Final answer, R.J. Harvey out of UCF. Talented running back. I actually got to watch him play ASU last year. Good player. And I think he's going to be a good help for the Broncos. But they added Sam Ehlinger, backup. Jarrett Stidham, backup. J.K. Dobbins, he's going to join that backfield with Mr. Harvey. And I think that's going to be a good 1-2 punch if they can stay healthy. Michael Burton, Trent Sherfield, Evan Ingram, underrated signing, former Jaguar, now the tight end for Bo Nix. I think that could be a good pickup for them. Matt Pert, DJ Jones, Dre Greenlaw, good pickup there. Justin Shanad, Talanoa Hufunga, another good pickup, and Mitchell Ferboni. Those are all the Broncos additions. For the departures, they have 4. I think this might be the lowest departures in the NFL. Zach Wilson, Javonte Williams, Cody Barton, and Riley Dixon. That's it. That's all they lost through free agency. So 4 guys. So they might be ready to run it back. They got a good team, good head coach, good quarterback. We'll see how he does in his second year. They got a talented wide receiver room, I would say. It's kind of underrated. They could be better. They have a good wide receiver 1, though, for sure, in Cortland Sutton. Now they add Evan Ingram, R.J. Harvey, J.K. Dobbins. I think they could be a good team. But I'll get into all that in my predictions video, which will be soon. Next up, we go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who did not go 9-8 last year, and they made the playoffs. With all this 9-8 talk, I was thinking they went 9-8 last year, but they didn't. So good job, Pittsburgh. This year, I think they are a wild card team. I don't know if they make the playoffs wild card, but they are a wild card. They could be good, they could be bad. I don't think they're going to have a losing record. I posted a video, you might have seen it on my TikTok, and I said they were going to do really bad. That was pre Aaron Rodgers. I did make the disclaimer. People were upset. Whatever. It's just a video. But, anyways, let's talk about the Steelers' additions. First and foremost, I think they did have a first round pick. They did. Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle out of Oregon. Rooting for him heavy. If you saw the draft, you may have seen that his mom passed away right after he was drafted by the Steelers. So very sad. I'm rooting for him. I always root for Oregon players. I have a lot of family that are Oregon Ducks fans, so root for them. But especially to see a sad situation like that, you can't help but root for him in his career. I hope he succeeds. I hope he becomes a Hall of Famer one day because he deserves it. And very sad situation. May his mom rest in peace. And Derek Harmon tear up the league. Let's see. For the Steelers' additions, other than Mr. Harmon, Aaron Rodgers, the new quarterback. Mason Rudolph comes back. Kenneth Gainwell, formerly of the Eagles. DK Metcalf in a trade with the Seahawks. I was pretty surprised by that. Scotty Miller, Ben Skoranek, Robert Woods, Donald Parham Jr., Jonnu Smith, as I said earlier, with the Dolphins trade. Daniel Ekuwale, Isaiah Loudermilk, that is a last name right there. Malik Harrison, TJ Watt signs a 3-year deal, much deserved, making him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. I don't know if that stands true still, but I think it might. Brandon Eccles, James Pierre, Jalen Ramsey, as I said earlier, in a trade with Miami. Darius Slay, formerly of the Eagles as well. Deshaun Elliott, Juan Thornhill, and Chuck Clark. Those are all the Steelers' additions. Let's talk about their departures. Kyle Allen, who, if you watched the Hall of Fame game last night, did not play so well. Justin Fields to the Jets, as I said earlier. Russell Wilson to the Giants, as I said in my last video. Najee Harris to the Chargers. Van Jefferson, George Pickens, who went to the Cowboys. Mike Williams, who went to the Chargers and then retired. Michael Pruitt, Dan Moore Jr., James Daniels to Miami, as I said earlier. Preston Smith, Montravius Adams, Larry Ogunjobi, Landon Roberts, Dante Jackson, Cameron Sutton, Minka Fitzpatrick, as we talked about earlier, and DeMonte Kazee. Those are all the Steelers' departures. Next up, the LA Chargers. An interesting team to watch. I don't jump to conclusions with the Hall of Fame / preseason game. I have some friends that think that, the Lions are screwed. They played horrible. It was their fourth stringers. Give them a break. But the Chargers look pretty good. The Chargers did look pretty good. I'm not jumping to conclusions, as I said. It's preseason. But they did look pretty good. Their running back out of North Carolina, Omarion Hampton, looks like he could be really good. That running back room could be solid. Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton, that could work out really well for the Chargers. But let's talk about their free agency. Taylor Heineke, Trey Lance, who looked pretty good in that game last night, Najee Harris, as I said earlier, Naheem Hines, Jalen Reagor, Tyler Conklin, Jordan Patea, Bradley Bozeman, Andre James, Mekhi Becton, who I was surprised to see the Eagles let go, Bud Dupree, Deshaun Hand, Khalil Mack re-signed, Naquan Jones, Tyre Tart, Troy Dye, Denzel Perryman, Dante Jackson, Elijah Molden, Benjamin St. Just, Tony Jefferson, and J.K. Scott. So pretty solid free agency additions there. Let's talk about their departures. Easton Stick finally leaves the Chargers. I was surprised by that. J.K. Dobbins, as I said earlier, to the Broncos. Gus Edwards also gone. So their running back room is pretty much fully shuffled. We'll see how that goes. Sime Fehoko goes to the Cardinals. DJ Chark, Josh Palmer to the Bills. Hayden Hurst, Brendan James, Sam Mustipher, Joey Bosa to the Bills. Pretty good signing there, but we'll get to that later. Poona Ford, Morgan Fox, Eli Apple, Christian Fulton, Asante Samuel Jr., who is still a free agent, by the way, and Marcus May. So we'll see how that ages for the Chargers, but if they play how they did last night as a whole team, they might be good this year. They went 11-6 last year in Jim Harbaugh's first year with the team. So we will see how it goes for them. Next up, we go to Houston, the team that knocked LA out of the playoffs in a pretty dominating fashion, I would say. They are another team to watch this year, I would say. I think they're going to win their division pretty easily. I think if a team were to give them trouble, it'd probably be Tennessee or Jacksonville. I don't see the Colts being too good this year, but hey, like I said, I've been wrong before, and I might be wrong again. We'll see how it goes. But the Houston Texans last year went 10-7, beat the Chargers, and lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs, unfortunately. So, we will see. Who did they draft in the first round? I don't know if they had a first-round pick, actually. They did not have a first-round pick. The Houston Texans did not have a first-round pick. I thought they did for some reason. But anyways, let's talk about their free agency. Nick Chubb added to the running back room with Joe Mixon. I always get this dude's name wrong. Dare Ogunbowale, hope I said that right. Braxton Berrios, Christian Kirk, Justin Watson, Irv Smith Jr., Trent Brown, Cam Robinson, Ed Ingram, Laken Tomlinson, Derek Barnett, Danielle Hunter, I think it is. He came over from the Vikings, I think, as a very underrated signing, only to a one-year deal, but he's a talented player. I think he'll do well for them. Darrell Taylor, or Daryl Taylor, I don't know. Mario Edwards, Fole Fodukasi, Sheldon Rankins, Nick Neiman, EJ Speed, Damon Arnett, Arthur Mollett, Derek Stingley Jr., one of the league's best corners, Traymon Smith, CJ Gardner-Johnson of the champion Eagles, Jalen Petre, and MJ Stewart. Those are all the additions. Talk about their departures. Case Keenum, Stephon Diggs to the Pats, as I said earlier, Robert Woods to the Steelers, Laramie Tunsil traded to Washington, Kendrick Green, Kenyon Green, that is interesting right there, Kendrick and Kenyon, Shaq Mason, Jerry Hughes, Neville Hewitt, Devin White, Miles Bryant, Kadar Holman, Jeff Okuda, Eric Murray, and John Weeks. Those are all the departures for the Houston Texans. Next up, the top three. A lot of people's top three in the AFC preseason votes this year. Starting off with the Baltimore Ravens. Heartbreak, and I mean heartbreak, when they lost to the Bills in the playoffs last year. They were close. I think if the turnovers didn't happen, they win that game. But that's for another day. Let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens. I can tell you right now, I don't even have to look at the list. They drafted Malachi Starks, the safety out of Georgia, and I think he's going to be a good pickup for them. But other than him, let's talk about their other players through free agency. Cooper Rush, the Dallas Cowboys backup that was undefeated for a while. I don't think he is anymore. But now he backs up Lamar Jackson. Derrick Henry signs a 2-year, $30 million deal. Rashad Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, Tylan Wallace, Patrick Ricard, Ben Cleveland, Joe Noteboom, Ronnie Stanley, John Jenkins, Jair Alexander, could be a good pick, and Chidobe Awuzie. So, solid additions, I would say, and solid re-signings. For their departures, Josh Johnson, Nelson Aguilar, Deontay Johnson, Josh Jones, Patrick McCarry, Michael Pierce, who retired, Brent Urban, excuse me, Chris Board, Malik Harrison, Arthur Mollett, Brandon Stevens, Tre'Davious White, Marcus Williams, and Justin Tucker. Very sad to see a great player, as I said earlier with Deshaun Watson. Great players throwing it all away for off-the-field stuff. Hope they figure it out in their personal lives, but sadly, they might not ever play NFL football again. Next up, the runner-ups in the AFC in a also heartbreaking fashion, the Buffalo Bills. Definitely not a way you want to lose. Some people say it was controversial. I say don't run a play that you're barely going to make a first down. But anyways, for the Buffalo Bills, let's talk about their additions. They signed their franchise guy, Josh Allen, to a 6-year deal worth $330 million, $250 million guaranteed. Good offseason for Josh Allen as he got the big bucks and he got married. Congratulations, Josh. Darrington Evans, Ty Johnson, Reggie Gilliam, Elijah Moore. Earlier, I said he signed from the Browns. That is an underrated move. Josh Palmer, also an underrated move. Khalil Shakir signs an extension. Kendrick Green, Joey Bosa coming over from the Chargers. Michael Holt, Greg Rousseau, Larry Ogunjobi, Terrell Bernard, Shaq Thompson, Christian Benford, a very underrated corner, Dane Jackson, Tre'Davious White, Derek Forrest, DeMar Hamlin, and Reed Ferguson. Those are all the additions for the Bills. Let's talk about their departures. Amari Cooper, Mac Hollins, Von Miller, Dwayne Smoot, Quentin Jefferson, Austin Johnson, Jordan Phillips, Rasul Douglas, Kyer Elam, and Sam Martin. Last but not least, we will jump to the AFC West's winner and Super Bowl runner-up, the Kansas City Chiefs. So, let's see what we got here. Kansas City Chiefs additions. Gardner Minshew, Bailey Zappi, Kareem Hunt, Elijah Mitchell, Marquise Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Jalen Moore, Trey Smith, George Karlaftis, Charles Omenihu, Mike Pennell, Jerry Tillery, Nick Bolton, Christian Fulton, Mike Edwards, Matt Ariza, James Winchester, And let's take a look at their departures. Carson Wentz, Samaje Perine, McCole Hardman, DeAndre Hopkins, Justin Watson, Jody Fortson, DJ Humphries, Joe Thuney, who went to the Bears, underrated move, Joshua Uche, Derek Nottie, Tershawn Wharton, and Justin Reed. So not a bad free agency for the runner-up team, the Chiefs. A lot of people are counting them out this year. I think it's too soon to do that. I think they're going to be a solid team. They went undefeated at home last year, only had 2 losses, and those were, I think, the last week of the year, and then another one that was really close. Oh, yeah, in Buffalo. So it'll be something to watch. Kansas City Chiefs, though, I think they are right back in it for a good season, and we'll see how it goes for them. But that is the end of the AFC free agency. Hope you guys enjoyed, and comment down below who you think was the best free agency signing in the AFC. And as always, if you liked the podcast, go ahead and leave a rating that you feel I deserve, and subscribe and stick around. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. So, hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for listening if you made it this far, and take care. Peace.